Hey everybody, Mainframe Miniatures here, and today I'm going to be painting based on this librarian art, which I think is pretty cool. So the first step I did with this miniature is I just went ahead and primed it gray, and then any parts that are going to be metallic golds or cloth, that you can see on the tabard, were primed brown. I'm keeping them off the base right now just so I can make sure I base coat everything easily, but he will be glued on later. There's also a tan base coat there you can see on the skull. So this is the first thing I did. I went through and I did the armor. Very much inspired by the art you can see with the purple shadow color there fading up to the blue. I don't think I pushed the highlight quite enough, but the technique I was using of glazing back kind of like light MMM style, I couldn't get it to work on the larger area, so at the end of the day I think I did a pretty okay job. I think the armor at this stage is looking pretty good. Later I did reinforce the shadows in some areas just to increase contrast between that and the metallics. I also did some base coating on the yellow parts and the white parts. Also reinforced that base coat on the skull, but that will just be gone over later. You can see here at this stage I've done more base coats. I've made the staff purple, more white obviously where things are going to be. The skull and his legs white, middle skull they're white. You can start. I'm just going to start doing the green MMM effect I did on like the little embossings on his staff. Did those, so just going to start. You're going to see that be added to over time, but yep, just basically this is the next step I did. After that, just did some more base coating. You can see there more of the wire colors I went through on the back. Was trying not to get kind of like a McDonald's look, you know, I don't want the red and the yellow wires bordering, so I put that green in the middle, and eventually I just switched over to green wires inside his psychic hood. But yeah, just more base coats here, and you can see I've done a little bit more on the staff at this point, but other than that, it's not been too different. Hey, next step here, you can start seeing this is step 1 of the stipple glazing technique I was using to highlight up on his skirt. Going to step 2, I'm just going to go through all these steps. So you just glaze, you just stipple with a glaze consistency of paint going up slowly. Pretty good technique, and then if you use smoothing transitions, do the classic LMN, any volumetric highlight glaze back. So it's just it's a pretty easy technique. You can get good cloths. It's my first time trying this technique on a miniature. But yeah, you'll just see me going through the steps here that way. But yeah, this miniature, basically the main art was to see, main goal of this miniature was to see how close I could get to the art and how much I could push my techniques, which I think I succeeded in. The technique I did for the yellow is pretty viral in like the entire miniature, especially the Warhammer painting scene right now is a white undercoat with a yellow, not the yellow wash, a pink wash into the resources, because that is the shadow color for yellow, with a watered down yellow on top. Didn't do any further highlights on there, but you can see just comparing it to that one there. Might go back at some point and change that to metallic, because I think the piece did end up leaning a little bit too bright for me, but that's just one thing. The gold is also a little bright, but that is from the art, and I think it's bounced out overall. So I think I am going to go back and tone down that yellow at some point, potentially. Yeah, just did all the metallics here. I'm not highlighting up from any lower metallics on any of the gold that is painted now, because I want it to be nice and vibrant like the art. Also did the yellow on that lightning bolt. Yeah, it's more of the gold here. Same thing, I did the metallics. I think at this point I've gone and done his holster. You'll see that book change a few times because I wasn't really sure what I was going to do for it. At this point he is fully glued down to the base because I've gone in those areas, and then boom, you get it. A huge upgrade. Gotta kind of move faster with my commentary here. Purity still freehand. Washes, metallics are almost done. I do go back and adjust those later, but you can see starting to do kind of the MMN glow, kind of shine effect on those runes on his staff. Highlighted up the staff at this point, did a glow effect on the skull. Pretty happy with how that purity still turns out, and that staff in general is one of my favorite parts of the piece. Also, the psychic hood is almost complete at this point. As well as the metallics have been toned down by a purple wash just to unify. I use purple as a shadow color, I think. pretty much everything on this just to unify things, make it have a consistent light source, something else I was trying out. You can see I did the highlighting on the book, did the little like page finder thing on the book, or whatever, the little clasp. Went around, finished up that holster, finished the gun in the holster, his arm at this point, everything on complete. You see there's a few little touch-ups on the metallics I need to do, but it's no big deal. If it was on that armor, though, I did not write down my recipe. And you'll see my attempt at emulating that later. But moving on to this would be the next part. I originally had a different arm plan, didn't end up adding any of that footage there because it's really not that interesting. It's just the arm was part Death Watch arm, and I was going to do it as a metallic with the Blood Angels, not Blood Angels, sorry, Dark Angels symbol, because this is a Dark Angels Agents of Vengeance army, is what I'm painting this for. So yeah, I changed that out. It's going to be an all black arm. Don't have the chapter symbol on it yet because I gave up. I did like 16 freehand attempts on this arm. It did not end well anytime. And I thought some of them I did, like the checker pattern I was going to go for at some point, looked way too busy. So I just went back and just kept it simple. It has an all black arm. This point, glued the arm on, left him overnight on his side like this. Glue on because the super glue I have is very slow drying, unfortunately, and you can see the power pack was one of the classic power packs. I did have some newer ones I could have used, but I didn't want to finagle them to fit, and I think this one looks cool on the classic model. So yeah, I have everything in sub-assemblies right now. You see me knocking over. Good job. Past me. Yeah, just have a black undercoat. At this point, yeah, I've gone in and fully blacked that thing out. The black undercoat on. Then the purple, obviously the unifying shadow color, especially all the blues on this armor. The power pack is going to be blue. I thought about maybe taking it back to black, but I don't think that was really necessary, and I think the blue ended up looking pretty good. So I'm okay with that. Yeah. This is, as I was saying earlier, this is my attempt at trying to remake the armor recipe because I did not write it down. Go ahead and just get all the metallics in. Just the first stage. My metallic recipe is pretty simple. I'll go and explain it later as you can see it going through all these steps to the final. But yeah, just went back and blacked out all the metallics at this point. So just base coating this component. It's usually how it works. You just get a base coat on everything. I'm a pretty accurate painter. I have pretty good brush control, so I don't usually need to worry about stuff going onto each other. You can see with the arm glued on there. One other thing I'd like to mention that was a big help with them, the areas like the Psychic Hood and his tabard on the bottom, is you just paint those harder to reach areas first, and then you're done with them, and then when you move on to the next area, you're not hitting your new work, which is pretty nice. Was a big help with this type of miniature. Okay, you can see there I've gone and base coated the gun, just with the classic Lead Belcher by GW, the goat of metal paints. Just have that guy on there. With some Runelord brass, I think it is. It's like kind of like the copper wiring color. Thought looked nice. No glow effect on this plasma gun. Going back in, just tidied it up, did a little bit black in there. You see I've already base coated the face here. Yep, just tidied that basically back up, and also highlighted up that metallic inside his hood. And you can see all the metallics have been adjusted, as well as some more detailed like the copper wire on the staff have been finished. So first for the face, I did a coat of Bugman's Glow, and then I came back with Murder Scene Army Painter Speed Paint, and then just did an all-over wash of that. Then you'll see I'm going to re-highlight that with Bugman Glow, all the raised areas, so it looks a little inflamed where he's kind of like locked into the Psychic Hood, and in the recesses you get that nice purple shadow color. I'll make it more purple later with the same purple paint, obviously to unify everything into that same shadow color. Then going back, just adding more and more spaceship exterior. It's an off-white by, again, Army Painter. I know they're not the best paints, but they are a buck cheaper than GW paints, which I do prefer. But yeah, I'm probably going to switch over to AK or some Vallejo soon. But yeah, just highlighting with spaceship exterior. And then I'm washing back purple. You can see it a little bit at this point back into the recesses there. Then we're going to do another big jump up. You can see I've lost some of the contrast a little, so in the next step I'm going to go back and clean that up and make sure he has that contrast, that definition in his face, which I'm pretty happy with. The only thing is eyes. I don't like doing the pupils and eyes, so I just did some straight white, kind of like psychic power, glowing, crazy looking eyes with some purple, deep purple shadows there. I thought it looked pretty good. Okay, then you can see there, yep, eyes are on, and now we're going back to the backpack. I'll show you the face later. But yeah, I glued the backpack on, and his face is pretty much complete at this point. I just did some adjustments on his eyeshadow color, but his face is good. I think I like the way it turned out. Arm is all highlighted too. I'll go over the recipe in a future video. So now I'm just highlighting up with mixing in some, it's actually right here, let me find it, some McCrag blue, so classic ultramarine blue color. Just mixing slowly into that purple and glazing up. You can tell, I think, a little bit here's where I started doing it, and then this is the big jump. So when you're doing small faces like this, you need to jump up a lot. So I jumped up to pure McCrag, and then in some of the other areas you can see there, I've jumped up to McCrag plus Temple Guard blue, which is the final highlight color. Kind of get that turquoise color and take it away from the ultramarines type of color. So yeah, got that, the big reflection lines, and it kind of make it look shiny. Next highlight step, you see I got the top there, and I think it's really starting to come together with the armor, which shows, I think, that I knew what I was doing on the armor and can reproduce it, which is nice. Got a new skill out of this. And then there, I believe we are done at that point. I just went back and finished all the metallics, which were just highlighted up with shining silver from Army Painter. Then after a black wash for definition. I don't really do edge highlighting on metallics. I kind of do reflective line highlighting on it. Just do one reflective line with kind of a mid-tone. Wash, unify it. Looks pretty good. Did the same thing on the backpack. Yeah, just enjoy the miniature. Looks like the video is going to be finishing up soon as I'm recording this voiceover, so I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support of the channel. There'll be a photography shot of this guy at the end of the video if you want to look, see how I did, compare him to the art. Be at the end of the video. But yeah, thank you guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Leave a comment on how you want me to improve these tutorials. Should have said this probably at the beginning of the video. This isn't really intended to be a super one-by-one, step-by-step tutorial. It's just documenting the creative process of miniature painting, which is the part I enjoy the most. I think most people that have a miniature painting channel would enjoy them. I think it's probably self-obvious. But yeah, if you wanted to see any more specific highlights, I have some Drukari miniatures that I picked up with some of my work money for my new job. But yeah, this will be the end of the video. And no, I did not win the Magic the Gathering tournament last time, in case anybody was wondering, because I have any returning fans from my Goblin Army series. Mentioning that, those videos will be coming out slowly. I got to get all these Space Marines done. I've had these guys in the pile of shame for, I think, pretty much the entire time I've been collecting 40k and Warhammer miniatures and miniatures in general. I've had most of these guys. So they'll get painted up. See you guys later. Bye-bye.